Welcome to the iOS show, the show that is all about apps as well as tips and tricks for your iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch. On this episode, we are taking a look at the Apple Maps versus Google Maps for Singapore. So this is a side-by-side comparison that has been requested by a friend of mine, Jimmy. So Jimmy, this video is for you, and who's requested to find out, how has the new Apple Maps impacted Singapore. So as you know, Apple just released iOS 6, and in the brand new iOS 6, they've replaced the Maps software, which used to be powered by Google, with their own. So to help me do that, I've got another iPhone over here, and this iPhone is still on iOS 5, so it's got the latest version of Google Maps that has been available for an Apple device. And then of course here we have the Apple Maps on iOS 6. So we're just going to launch it. And I will say this first, is that the new Maps software by Apple is definitely a lot better in terms of user interface compared to Google Maps, right? So one of the things that I really like about the new Maps is that they're vectors rather than they're pictures. So meaning that if I zoom out, it doesn't have to reload things and stuff like that. You won't get images starting to get pixelated as I zoom in more. Because they're all vectors, and one of the great things I like about it is that apart from the fast zooming in and out, you can also rotate the map. Since they're all vectors, the words will just rotate along with it as well, which is useful when you're looking for directions. The problem, however, is that Apple's really good with user interfaces, user experience, and all that. But from all this, I feel that they've revealed their weaknesses, which is in terms of getting data. So the Maps data on Apple Maps it's not there at all. It's just so many things are missing, and for us Singaporeans it's particularly so. And I'm just going to illustrate it to you side by side comparison. If you just take a look at here right now, you can already tell that there's quite a big difference. This is the Jurong East area in Singapore. So on the left here is Google Maps, on the right is Apple Maps, and you can see the first thing that you'll notice is that all of the buildings are gone. Like, all of the buildings are gone. There are no buildings whatsoever in Singapore as far as Apple Maps is concerned, which is really annoying because when you're looking for directions, buildings are landmarks and you're gonna see that you're like, okay, there's a building here, there's an empty field here, look for the building that's next to the empty field, I'm in the right place. Nope, none of that is happening on the Apple Maps, and which is very frustrating for me. And the other thing that you'll also notice is that all of the bus stops have been missing as well. So you see on this street there's 2 bus stops here, 2 bus stops here. You do not find them on the Apple Maps as well. So of course the buildings are completely missing, that's one thing, but because they're missing, also the block numbers are also gone. So Google Maps provides block numbers, which is very helpful in Singapore. Everything revolves around block numbers here. They're all missing. Very frustrating. Hospitals are not showing up as well. Some things are showing up. Look at this. This is one of the things that was quite surprising to me, is that over here it says JQ, but I have no idea what this is. When I was taking a look at this earlier, they actually said Jurong Entertainment Centre. So they've totally not updated themselves based on what's been going on. And a lot of these points are based on Yelp. So if any of the data is on Yelp, then it will appear. But obviously not everything is going to be on Yelp. So that's going to be quite problematic. And if you take a look at the train stations, in Singapore, this is the labels that we have for all of our train stations. This is a national standard, right? The green line and the red line, this is an interchange from, and the station name is EW24 and S1, and it's Jurong East. Everybody who's in Singapore, you recognize this. And this, it just says train station. That's all, it doesn't say anything. So, there was a long time ago when Google Maps used to be like this as well, right? But Google set up an office here in Singapore, worked together with LTA, and collaborate to make sure that all of the Maps data is accurate. And Apple obviously just doesn't have this at all, which is, you can say that, hey, you just need to give Apple some time. The problem is that you can't explain that to consumers who have been using great map data for 5 years and then all of a sudden have all of the data stripped away and start back from zero. So that's really quite a horrible thing to do. And to me, it's not. It's a very silly thing that Apple has done with the maps to do this. So. Yeah, no buildings, no bus stops, train stations kind of not really there. Look at that, Jurong Entertainment Centre, this building has been torn down 2 to 3 years ago, replaced with a brand new one, and it's still outdated. And the other thing that some of the people are also concerned about is what is it like in universities. So I'm just going to search for NUS on Apple Maps, and fortunately they can actually find it. But of course, Google has a lot more data points, and I'm just going to zoom in right here on the Google Maps. So you can see here all of the building names: Singapore Wind Tunnel Facility, the Sports and Recreation Centre, of course the place where the Prime Minister always gives his national speech, the Universal Culture Centre Theatre is all here, the new University Culture Centre, Yusof Ishak House, so on and so forth. What do we have in Apple Maps? Absolutely nothing, except that it says that National University of Singapore. And one stray parking lot over here. I have no idea how this parking lot appeared, probably because of Yelp again, as I mentioned earlier. And yeah, basically data is just pretty bad as far as Singapore is concerned. In fact, if you go down to the city, let's just search for the Esplanade. Well, of course, this is one of the things that Google Maps does have that Apple Maps doesn't, which is ads. I mean, Google is an ad company, so I guess this is something that I will not miss with Google. But if you zoom into Google Maps on this area, you'll find that they actually have some 3D buildings, whereas obviously, as far as Apple Maps is concerned, there's absolutely nothing there as well. I like the nice touches of where they show all these green patches to represent, grass and grassy areas, parks and stuff like that. That's nice. I really like that, and I like all the little shadow touches and all that. Nice touches, but I would much rather trade all of that for buildings. So, it's very difficult to be able to find something good to say about Apple Maps, even though it's such a great user experience, because I always feel that in the end, the maps is all about, the data itself, and obviously the data is completely missing. So, also the other thing that you would know about iOS 6 maps is that there are no longer transit directions, but fortunately, we have a friend, so let's see, let's just do this random route. I have no idea what this is. That actually provides a routing app in Singapore that has great data. So when you push the route button, it sends it to gothere.sg. Gothere.sg was actually a Google Maps competitor in Singapore, and they've had collaboration with the guys at LTA as well. So they have great data. In fact, their mapping data is a lot better than Google Maps. So if you're looking for something to replace this, I would recommend going with gothere.sg. It is a paid app, but it's a very good app. So I'm just going to say Woodlands MRT to somewhere, say 33 Scotts Road, for example, right? And this is the mapping data that gothere.sg will give you. They'll give you bus, train, taxi, and even give you the cost in taxi. Which is very nice. You can go to drive, you show you these driving, they'll tell you how much ERPs it's going to go, and you can set options as well. So if you go to here and go to options, you can ask it to minimize ERP or avoid expressways. So these are things completely customized for Singapore. They have so much better data. The only thing that they are lacking that Google Maps does have is that the interface isn't exactly the smoothest. So you will have these jagged lines appear sometimes, and the map doesn't reload as well. But for right now, this is the thing that I'm surviving on as a Singaporean, which is the gothere.sg map. And they have everything as well, all of the block numbers, all of these data. And this is data that they've built themselves. It's not based on Google. They did it from scratch, 4 guys, amazing guys. And they have a lot of extra data as well. Touch a bus stop, they'll give you the next arriving time for every bus stop in Singapore. Touch a parking lot, and they'll give you the prices for that parking lot as well. You can take a look here, the HDB parking times and the fees, ERP charges, train stations. It's gothere.sg right now is the one that I'm surviving for, and I thank God that gothere.sg is around to tide the waves in the meantime, to really take over while Apple tries to do something about their mapping software. So for now, if you're looking for an alternative, I do recommend that you give gothere.sg a try right now. I think this is a great opportunity for them to come back and maybe get a little bit of more market share as far as Singaporeans are concerned. So this is a little bonus for you, an alternative to solve these issues if you're really frustrated with iOS maps and you really need a map Now, if you're driving, I think iOS Maps, you could give it a try. Hopefully, you'll not get you lost. Just make sure to go through the maps and make sure they're sending you to the place that you're expecting them to send you. Apart from lack of turn-by-turn directions, which gothere.sg does not provide, I think gothere.sg's map is a lot better in terms of data compared to what Apple's providing. In fact, they even provide, this is something that I really love, by the way, just kind of like plugging them. They didn't pay me to do this, obviously. Jimmy's the one who asked me for this video, not the guys at gothere.sg, but I love these guys so much that I'm gonna promote them anyway. You can see that they show you the exit numbers where all of, train stations have a bunch of exits, and they'll show you that these are all the exits, J and K, and they actually match the data that's within the station itself. So that's something that's very nice. So, yep. So that is the state of things that's going on with Apple Maps versus Google Maps. I still highly recommend that you upgrade to iOS 6 because there's a whole bunch of great features. But if you want a mapping solution, gothere.sg is the way to go together with iOS 6. Alright, so until the day Google launches a standalone Google Maps app, go with gothere.sg. In fact, I highly suspect that Google is just taking this opportunity to mess around with Apple users by not launching an Apple app. So yeah, that's it for this episode of the iOS show. I hope you liked this video and it was useful to you. If you did find it useful, subscribe to us, youtube.com/65bits. We'll have more videos coming up. Visit our website, www.tech65.org. Lots of stuff over there, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.